Let's bring in Graham Russell and Russell Hitchcock from Air Supply. Good morning, guys. How's it going?
How are you?
I'm doing good. So we have, and because of the two Russells, it's going to be hard. I hope I don't get confused.
Yeah.
Graham Russell
That's me.
and Russell Hitchcock. You guys have been at this for a long time now. For how long? 30 years or something?
39 years this year.
39 years?
39
You're
years.
kidding me. Wow. I mean, does that just blow your mind that it's been 4 decades?
You know, when you're reminded of it as we are today, you look back and go, wow, it's been a long time, but it's gone pretty quickly.
I bet it has. I mean, because things, I mean, you're probably, I'm just guessing, that you're probably toiling away. You're trying to make it in the music career, and I'm sure it didn't come easy or quickly, I guess. And then all of a sudden, I'll bet you had some success, and before you know it, 39 years just fly by.
It goes
right?
pretty quick, yes. I mean, we had a lot of success in our early career, but then we've had a couple of times periods where we didn't. You know, in Australia, but it wasn't until 1980 when we really broke worldwide. You know.
Well, how did you? Okay, so you're from England, right?
I'm from England, yeah.
And you, Russell, you're from Australia.
Correct.
How did you guys hook up and get? Was it in England, in Australia, or where?
We were both in a production of Jesus Christ Superstar, the musical.
Okay.
We met in May of 1975. We were both in the chorus initially, just hung out together. We were new to the theatre kind of business. You know, we were quite intimidated by everybody else because we didn't know what we were doing. So we just kind of gravitated to each other and became friends very quickly. And it wasn't but 2 weeks after we met that we started working on some of Graham's original songs.
And so you guys basically hit it off right off the bat.
Yeah.
And as far as working together, collaborating on music, did you know instantaneously, like, this guy is going to be perfect for me to work with?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I had no experience in music at all. So when I met Graham and I heard him play a composition that was original, that really blew my mind because I had no clue about writing songs. I don't read music. We just clicked, you know. We both had the same tastes in music, both big Beatles fans.
This is fascinating to me. So, Graham, you're the one that has the musical background, I guess. I mean, you're writing songs, you know how to do this.
Yeah.
And you meet him, and what made you decide that you wanted to involve Russell in your musical endeavors? Because he had no real skill at it, I guess.
You know, I never really thought about it. We just did it. I mean, when we were in Superstar, like Russell said, we became very good friends, and we started singing together, and it sounded really good, and we both knew that. And everybody in the cast, when we would be singing backstage, would come by and go, "Wow, you guys sound great," you know. So it was an obvious choice, but we never really thought about it and said, "Oh, let's do something." We just did it,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
So you grow up in England.
Yeah.
Where?
I'm from Nottingham in England.
Is it a small city? Is it a?
It's about the fifth largest city in England.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you lived there until you were how old?
18.
And then is that when you took off for Australia?
I went to Australia. Yeah.
What made you decide to go to Australia of all places?
Well, you know, my parents were already there, and my sister was already there, so I was kind of the only one.
How did they end up? Why did they go there?
They just wanted to go there for a new start and something different, you know.
Yeah, and they speak English, so it's an easy place you can actually like go, and you know, it's not like moving to Hong Kong. Well, I guess in Hong Kong they actually speak English too a lot.
So it was a natural move, and I wanted something different. As you said, I wanted to finish school first, then I went, you know.
Yeah, and were your parents? What did they do for a living?
Well, my dad was retired then, anyway, but he was a gardener.
Yeah.
He was worked at the Botanical Gardens in Nottingham, you know.
And who instilled this musical experience in you?
Nobody. It was just there, you know. I mean, I've never had any formal training at all.
No kidding.
No, none.
Did you? So you just had an interest from it from as far back as you can remember when you were a kid?
Yeah. Well, we had a piano in our front room in England, and nobody used to play it. So when I was like 9, 10 years old, I would go in and tinkle around on it without knowing anything about it.
And you said that you guys were big Beatles fans, but
Huge.
Did you always? I mean, the music of Air Supply is, I mean, it's mellow. It's all mellow love song stuff. Although I hear now that you guys have gotten into some sort of dance music or something. I want to hear this. But why did you decide to go down that road instead of, like more rock?
it's just what you grew up with. I mean, I used to listen to Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett and singers like that, so I was always into good vocals. But, obviously, like a million other kids, once I heard the Beatles, I couldn't get enough of their music and magazines, and I wanted to buy the boots and, wear my hair, which I couldn't because I've got silly hair. Just that thing, I was just gravitated to them, and I was hooked. I used to be in my bedroom, and I'd get a piece of wood and pretend I was Paul McCartney and sing along with the.
And then you do that as a kid, and then later you're probably playing like in stadiums and stuff to get God knows how many people. I mean, that's got to be surreal.
It was amazing. I mean, I still, having said that, I didn't have any experience with music, and we've been, as we said, on the road for 39 years without a break. We played to 175,000 people in Cuba some years ago. We've gotten to play for Prince Charles and Lady Diana at the Australian Bicentennial.
Oh, wow.
We had dinner with Imelda Marcos a couple of years ago. I mean, we've done some really cool things,
And you grew up in Australia.
Correct.
You lived there, I guess, your whole life until you guys got big or whatever. What did your parents do?
My dad was a milkman. Used to drive a horse and cart with all the milk on the back.
How old are you? I mean,
how old am I? No.
Yeah. What are we talking about? I mean, my Lord, a milkman with a horse, and I mean, what in the hell? I mean, what is this?
I'm 64, and the horse's name was Daisy.
Wow.
There you go.
And so you,
but he was a singer too. Sorry to interrupt you. My dad sang with big bands in Melbourne.
Yeah.
When he was a young fella.
And so he was into music, and you not so much. But
he was. I have an older sister. She sang semi-professionally, so I guess it was in the blood,
Did your dad make any money? Did you guys have any? No, he never really. So you grew up you didn't have a lot of money growing up, probably.
Well, once again, this is how old I am. We used to have an outside toilet.
No kidding.
Yeah, my mother used to wash our clothes in this big, like a witch's cauldron with a stick and heat the water underneath with an open fire.
Were you like that, Graham? I mean, did you guys, I mean, if your dad's a gardener
No, I was a little more advanced. Only because I grew up in England, but he's talking about Australia, because Australia was very provincial in those days.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we actually had a real toilet inside.
And now, I mean, that's amazing that you have an outhouse. This is how you grow up.
An outhouse, correct.
Now, I don't know how much money Air Supply has made throughout the years, but I'm assuming with all these royalties of all these songs, I mean, it's. Could you even put a number on it? I mean, do you have any idea how much money you guys have made over the past 40 years?
Honestly, I really don't know, but we're doing all right.
You've never had. It's been a long time since you've ever had to worry about money.
Well, you always worry about it because show business being what it is, no matter what part of it you're in, you always think at the beginning of the year, are we going to get booked this year, or how many dates are we going to do, or because it's our life. I mean, I've been with Graham working with Air Supply for more than half of my life. So
will you bring the microphone a little bit closer to you? There you go. Yeah, you can move it. There you go. I hear that from people though. If you grow up of sort of meager means, it doesn't matter how much money you end up having, that there's something in the back of your head that always thinks, I could lose all of this money. It could go as easily as it came. Mm-hmm. And you have that sort of mentality.
I do, yeah, sure.
Do you guys live, would you say that you live, Graham, do you go out and buy Ferraris and stuff? Or do you,
No, when we got our first royalty checks, like in 1980, we both independently went out and bought Mercedes cars and houses and stuff. But now, because I think we're a little smarter now with our money, we don't do any of that stuff. I mean, I drive a BMW. Well, I've got 4 of them, but I don't go out and buy Ferraris. I mean, we do.
He tows them. He's like a caravan. He's like, I have 4 of them. Just tow them behind the front one, and let's do this.
Yeah. No, we live very, not meagerly, but we live very frugally.
Yeah.
Just because we like to do that.
Have you been married? Are you married?
Yes, I am married. Yeah.
You're married now, so you don't have to pay any alimony or any of this kind of stuff that other people.
No, that's
do.
my department.
You have to pay that, Russell?
Yeah, I've been married 4 times.
4 times. Let me ask you, why keep getting married? Didn't you learn your lesson?
I love being in love, man. What can I tell you?
Is that? But you could be in love without having to get married, right? Do you make these women sign prenups before you get married?
Sadly, no.
So are you paying out, like we talk about these royalty checks and stuff?
I pay a bit. Yeah.
Do you pay through the nose?
Not that far, but I support a couple of women still.
Would you say over or under a quarter of your income goes to those women?
Over.
More than 50%?
No,
Can't be
no.
more than 50%, right? But I mean, doesn't that drive you crazy every year? Like, I'm sure you have an accountant, tax person, or whatever, and you look at this.
He's bald now because of me.
How many years were you married to these women?
Oh, the longest was 4 years, I think.
Oh my God! And you're paying for this still.
Well, a couple of them, yeah.
This is why I tell guys, don't ever get married. And you guys are in the entertainment industry. Someone should have sat you down, a manager, clergy, someone, friend.
They all tried.
And said, don't do this. But here's the problem that I have with, and why I tell people don't get married, because I don't know how you met these women that you got married to, but I'm guessing, were not accustomed to any sort of lifestyle that you ended up providing them with. And they didn't go out. They didn't tour. They didn't write. They didn't sing. They didn't do any of this stuff. And yet, because they married you and they're married to you for a year or two, you end up having to pay them. I find that wildly unfair towards men, don't you?
Well, I actually agree with you.
Yeah,
totally. But
something
the
should
law
change.
is the law. So.
I mean, sure, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, back when your dad was driving that milk cart around, women maybe needed some sort of protection. But now women want to be treated equally. They want equality in the workplace. They want equal work, equal pay, all of that. And it just seems to me that guys get screwed over left and right when it comes to this kind of stuff.
It happens. But what are you going to do? I mean.
Now, the rumor, the rumor is that you guys were gay. I've heard this. That obviously isn't true. You've been married
really?
4 times.
What's really funny about that, when we first made it to any kind of level in the US, we'd play shows, and we'd usually, in those days, go down to the bar, and there'd be like 4 or 5 women there. And
yeah.
So we'd talk to them, and they'd sometimes say, we'd say, what are you doing here? You married? Yeah. Our husbands think you're gay, so you're not a threat to them.
The guys, if guys think you're gay, they worry about you banging their wife. You probably got more poon than anyone. I mean, geez. How did you guys end up making it big? Did it come easily? Did you? What happened? What was the big break for Air Supply?
It didn't come easily, but we had some good breaks at the same time. When we first started to do our shows in Australia, we already had a #1 record, coming out of Superstar. We made a record and it went to #1. And then we opened for Rod Stewart around Australia. And then after the first show, he asked us if we would open for him in the US.
Oh, wow.
And we said, yeah. So suddenly we were in the US.
You must make some impression on him then, I guess.
I think we did, yeah. But nothing happened. We opened for him for several months, but we didn't break in America. So we went back to Australia and had to start again. But,
were you dejected when you went back? Like, this was our big opportunity. We may never have another shot at this.
Yeah, exactly. We were very dejected. We had to start again, but we came back. We were tenacious, And I went away and wrote some more songs, and we made another record. And Clive Davis heard it and signed us, and then we had 7 or 8 top 5s in a row,
So Clive Davis was really the guy who made you guys what you are today.
He was, yeah. He was very instrumental in our career. Yeah.
Have you read this book that Clive Davis came out with? I haven't read it yet, but have you read this?
No, I haven't. I've heard about it. I've heard this chapter on us too, or a part of it about us.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't read the book, so I don't know if you were mentioned in there or not. But
I believe we were, but I need to read it actually.
Yeah.
I should read it.
Didn't he come out, or am I thinking of the wrong guy? Didn't he come out and say he was married? And I think he ended up isn't he bisexual or something? I guess he revealed that in the book.
He is, yeah.
But did you know that for decades? Like to you guys, was it no big deal that this was exposed in this book? Common knowledge to you guys and people in the industry, I guess.
Who cares,
Yeah, you don't care.
No.
I jokingly asked before you guys came in here. I said, "How many people have offed themselves to Air Supply? Because the songs can be so depressing if you've just broken up." Have you heard any stories about this happening?
We've actually had people come to shows that said they were contemplating whacking themselves. But the music or one of our songs was somewhere, and they thought,
And it saved them, from killing themselves. Now, what do you guys think? Well, I forget which one of you. I read in an interview said that you believed that radio had turned your back on Air Supply and stopped playing your music. And now, if you guys want to make a living, you have to go out and tour. Is there some disdain toward radio?
Well, no, not at all. I mean, the thing with us is, we're just completing now our 24th studio CD. Most people that listen to radio figured that we didn't make any records past 85 or 86.
Yeah.
We've produced new music, that body of work now, and it's frustrating when you produce good quality music, which we believe we make, and it's taken to radio, and it's not doesn't get its.
Why do you think that is? Is it just
know.
the audience or the people programming radio are fickle, or what is it?
You guys would probably know better than us, but obviously tastes change. I was a great listener of one of my favorite stations in Los Angeles, and I listened to it on a Monday, and Tuesday morning when I turned it on, it was a whole different format, Gone. Everybody was fired.
Yeah.
So, you can't account for taste or what people want to listen to, and, we've obviously had an amazing career, and we still do, and we've succeeded to some degree in spite of, not having that support at radio. But, we're as old as we are. We've done what we've done. We've got nothing to prove really to anybody. But, we're really thrilled with our music. The new stuff we're doing now, we just did a couple of days recording in Tampa for this upcoming project, and it's great stuff, So it is frustrating when you put your heart and soul into it, and Graham, is the spearhead of all this because he writes the songs.
What kind of stuff do you guys listen to? What are you into? Are you into like the kind of stuff that you guys make, or are you guys into heavy metal or something? That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm not into heavy metal, although I did enjoy Metallica on the Grammys.
Yeah.
I like all kinds of things. I listen to the band's coming up and what's going on. I don't listen to radio that much. Well, where I live, I can't get it anyway, unless I get it.
Where do you live? Out in the middle of nowhere or something?
I do, yeah.
Where? Oh, in what country? Here, or where do you live?
No, I live in Utah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that is in the middle of nowhere.
It is in the middle of nowhere, yeah. And I live in the middle of nowhere,
I find Utah to be a very strange state because, first of all, I'm sure you're not Mormon. I'm assuming you're not Mormon. But they don't really like outsiders in Utah. If you're not Mormon, they're not a big fan of you. Maybe you because you're a celebrity, but I find it to be a strange place.
A lot of my neighbors, belong to the Mormon religions.
Yeah.
And they're really nice people. But I don't get involved on any level with anything else. But they're great people. And I tell you what, if you're in a jam or your pipes freeze, and they'll be right there and they'll help you. That's for sure.
Where do you live, Russell?
I live in Atlanta.
So why'd you pick Atlanta of all places?
My girlfriend lives there.
Listen, don't do something stupid. You're not. Please tell me you're not contemplating getting married again.
Not at this point. No.
Can you explain it to me, Graham? You've known this guy for 40-some years.
Well, he's a romantic, and women are all over him all the time.
Can you see?
I mean that in a nice way,
right? but can you? Do you ever sit him down and do you ever offer him any advice, or do you guys just know each other so long that he's not going to take any advice, so you don't even offer it?
He wouldn't take any advice. It's not for me to give it anyway. But yeah, we've known each other a long time. But I think we all have the patterns that we keep recreating, and I don't think they're going to stop.
Someone told me that the two of you have never been in a fight. I find that hard to believe. In 40 years, you've never been in a fight.
Well, do the math. He's 6'5" to start with, and I'm 5.
Well, okay, but not a physical fight. But there must have been arguments about money, creative stuff. Never.
No, the great thing about our working relationship is that we don't tread on each other's toes. I couldn't write a song if you paid me. Well, I could, but it would be bad. I know what my role is within Air Supply and our relationship working together, and Graham's the songwriter and the musical genius behind what we do. So there's no reason for us to ever have a fight.
So does he get a much bigger cut then because you're writing all the songs and everything?
No. We split everything down the middle. If I write the song, I get paid for writing the song.
You get like a publishing, right, or whatever, writing for whatever.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's very. do you think that you guys were paid your fair share throughout your career? For instance, these record labels, the industry has really changed now, but these record labels used to really rape and pillage artists.
They did.
Do you think that you guys were treated fairly throughout your career?
I do. I mean, we've had ups and downs, but we've always, with our record company, with Clive and Arista, we had a great relationship, and we made a lot of money, but we had a lot of big hits, but we've done fine. I mean, there's always the fact that you wanted to make more money, but the record companies did take everything, and they did with us, but the little part that we got was a big part in the end,
Where'd the name Air Supply come from?
Well, we were in Superstar, and we had a record coming out, but we didn't have a name. So we said whoever had the best name the next morning, we had to go with because we were on a deadline. And that night I had a dream, and this is true. I dreamt of a billboard with flashing lights all around it going off and like lasers and everything. And in the middle were 2 words, and it just said Air Supply.
No kidding. And it was almost like a sign, I guess.
It was
a literal sign in your dream. And
but our career has been very much like that. We're born in the same month, a few days apart. We have the same name. We both saw the Beatles in '64 live at other ends of the earth. So there's certainly some degree of...
It's almost like if you were gay, he would be your soulmate.
Pass.
Probably, yeah. Maybe was in another lifetime.
Well, listen, guys. They're going to be at... I have it to my card here. I have it here in a second. We're Akron Civic Theater tonight at 8 p.m., Air Supply.
Yep.
And for tickets, call this number, 330-253-2488. That's 330-253-2488. Or you can get tickets at Ticketmaster.com as well. And the Akron Civic Theater is over there at 182 South Main Street tonight at 8 o'clock. I appreciate you guys coming in. Mark sent me a text message. He'd like to say hello. He says that he's an airhead. Apparently, that's your fan club, our airheads.
Yep.
He says, ask them about playing a concert for the Sultan of Brunei, I think it was. What was that?
That was in the mid
10 years ago.
Yeah.
And what did you do? Was this some rich Arab guy or something? The Sultan of Brunei?
The guy that owns the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go over there and what does he do? He calls up and he goes, hey, does this guy just get anything he wants? He goes, you know what? I feel like Air Supply should play tonight. Let's fly him in and do it.
We stayed in this hotel when we were over there, and it was like 800 rooms or something. And the guy that was the liaison between the Sultan and us was giving us a bit of history about the guy. And he bought this hotel, or had it built for his brother, for a weekend getaway.
For one weekend, a weekend getaway?
Just for a place that he could hang out, right? 800 rooms.
Wow.
And apparently he found out that his brother had his fingers in the till. So he took the place off him and turned it into a hotel.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and his suite in the theater had 24 karat gold thread in it. And,
in the carpet.
That's insane.
And he's got I think Brunei is probably 20 miles long, and the guy's got 150 Ferraris or...
Isn't it at some point? I mean, did you look at the guy and just go, "This guy"? It is there. At some point, it's obscene. I don't know how the people in Brunei. I don't know anything about it.
They're all laughing because
they
make so much money from oil. I guess is it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's oil. Yeah.
Anyway, but I mean, he was a great guy. In fact, our show apparently was the first time that he ever sat in the audience.
Oh yeah,
to see a show. He usually sits in his Regal box up the top there, so
yeah,
that was quite a compliment.
And you were one of the first American bands to play in Cuba since they put that embargo in place as well.
Maybe Radiohead played there, I think, and we were the next one.
And a hurricane hit while you're in the middle of your thing there, I guess, or whatever. Hurricane Dennis, and wiped the place out or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, they came into our rooms and boarded them all up, and we had to, spend the night listening to all this stuff going on outside. It was pretty bad. Well, listen,
I don't want to hear that I don't want to see in the news that you've gotten married for a 5th time. Don't make that mistake.
5.
What's that?
It's a lucky number, 5. Isn't
it?
Well,
yeah, maybe the 5th time's a charm, perhaps.
There you go.
I don't know. But listen, I appreciate you guys coming in.
You're welcome.
And the show is tonight at the Akron Civic Theater, 8 o'clock. Ticketmaster.com or 330-253-2488. Graham Russell and Russell Hitchcock from Air Supply. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so
Welcome,
much.
mate. Pleasure.
I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back on Rover's Morning Glory. Hang on.
Rover's Morning Glory.